Hi, I'm Troy Harrison, the Sales Navigator, and I have questions. Matter of fact, I have a lot of questions. And if you're serious about selling, you should too. You hopefully already know that asking questions, great ones and lots of them, is the best way to get information about your customers and discover their needs to help you make a sale. But did you know that asking a lot of questions makes you more likable? Let's face it, being liked early and forming rapport quickly is one of the biggest challenges that we salespeople face. And a lot of times people think it's about what we say. It's about what we ask. I've been saying this for years, and it looks like Harvard University finally caught up to me. A few years ago, Harvard University did a survey on likability. And here's what they did. It was kind of an interesting approach. They sent thousands of people on speed dates. They sent them to speed dating events where you have 20 dates in 15 minutes. You're meeting people for 15 minutes and having a conversation and then moving on. They had a control group that they told to ask 4 or less questions during the 15 minutes time. Then they had a test group that they had ask 9 or more questions within the 15 minutes time. Here's what they found out. The group that asked 9 or more questions during that 15 minutes time got a lot more requests for second dates than the group that asked 4 or less questions. There's no word on whether or not there was a lawsuit by the control group for damaging their love life. But what they found out in addition was that for each question they asked over 9, they got 1 more request for a date during those 20 date sessions. That's pretty powerful. Now, admittedly, speed dating is not exactly like selling, but it's not exactly unlike selling either. It's still about being liked. Why did this work? Because asking questions means that you are showing interest in the person on the other side of the desk or on the other side of the table. And people like people who show interest in them. After all, what's people's favorite thing to talk about? Themselves. Hey, I'm no different. I like to talk about me too, but we're talking about you right now. So if you ask more questions, you show more interest in the person on the other side of the desk, you build greater rapport, and you become more likable. So great. All salespeople asking lots and lots of questions, right? Not so much. I did a survey a short time ago on LinkedIn on the biggest group for sales professionals, the Sales Best Practices group. And I got thousands of responses to this survey. And here's what I asked. On an initial discovery appointment, I was very clear about this, the initial discovery appointment, how many questions do you ask on the average? The results shocked me. 37% of all the survey respondents said that they asked 5 or fewer questions on a first appointment. That blew me away. What can you actually learn about a prospect or a customer by only asking 5 questions? Not very much. And you're probably, based on the Harvard University survey, not going to be that likable either. Another 41% said that they only asked 6 to 10 questions on a first appointment. That's a little better, but still, for most business-to-business salespeople, even 10 questions probably isn't going to give you the results you want, either in terms of likability or in terms of accurately discovering your customer's needs. But think about that for a minute. Add those two together. That means 78% of salespeople are asking 10 or fewer questions on an initial discovery appointment. That's your competition. That is what you're up against. And guess what? 22% of salespeople asked 11 or more questions on that first appointment. You want to guess who's making most of the sales? I don't have to wonder. It's the people who are learning more about their customers by asking more questions. Now let's circle back to that Harvard survey. One key that they found is that those respondents who asked more of what we call drill down questions, asking the people to expand upon their answers. Tell me more about that. Why did that happen? When was this? Who did it? They got even more likability results measured in more dates than those people who asked lots of questions, then just let the answers sit there, moved on to the next question. Drilling down is a key skill in selling. And I have articles and videos that will show you about that. So, what should you be asking? Well, you should probably be asking at least 2 to 3 what I call rapport building questions. Asking questions about your prospect's professional background, for instance, is a great way to get them to tell their stories and help them start building rapport with you. You know, I learned this back in the car sales world. My first job many years ago was selling cars. And I will be frank with you, the hardest part of my selling game has always been building quick rapport with people. There was a guy who had his office next to me. His name was Mike Wilson. The guy was awesome. He was the kind of guy that could meet somebody and be their friend in 30 seconds. And it wasn't fake. Mike just loved people and it just exuded out of him. I love people too, but that wasn't my personality. What I discovered was that if I asked people questions about themselves and then remember to shut up, I know that's hard, right? Shut up and listen to their answers, let them tell their stories, I was building rapport with them. So I've known this for many years. So start off with a few rapport building questions. Next, in the business to business world, move to a few of what I call big picture questions, questions about the overall company, not about your stuff yet, but questions about the overall company, its situation, its past, its present, where it's going, what its priorities are, all those kind of things. Then and only then do you have the right to move to asking questions about your end of the world, your stuff, that which you are selling. You should ask at least a half a dozen questions. 7 or 8 is even better. 10 is even better than that. Bottom line is, if you're not asking at least 11 to 12 questions on your first appointment, well, you're putting yourself in the bottom 80% of salespeople. There are people who probably make sales, but they're not really that superstar level. You want to be better. Take the time to ask lots of questions, refine them, drill down on those questions when you ask them, and then listen to the answers. Yeah, I know, we got to listen to the answers. Questions are the key skill in selling. 80% of your chance to win or lose the sale will be determined by the time you have asked your last question. So don't shortchange your questioning, because then you shortchange your customers. And if you ask lots of questions, like Harvard University says, you'll be more likable. It's a win-win-win. Thanks for watching. You know the drill. If this video has been helpful to you, like it, share it, comment, subscribe to my channel. I'm Troy Harrison, the Sales Navigator, and I'll see you next time. If you are an owner or manager of a company, scan the QR code for your free sales strategy review.